This is the heaviest podcast. Let's go!
Yo, what's going on? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of radness. It's severely hot in England.
Oh my god, I'm so sweaty right now, dude. Like, I put on a clean t-shirt just before we started, and I already need another one, mate. It's ridiculous. I'm dying, absolutely dying. I am way too heavy set for this weather.
How's your life, Gary? What's going on?
Yeah, my life's all right, mate. Apart from the obvious temperature control issues I'm working through. How about you, sir? How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, obviously we didn't really know if we were going to do a podcast this week because we're expecting a young baby, but the baby's not come yet. So we thought, why not use the time productively and chat about some riffs and indeed some cinema that we witnessed.
Yeah, man. So we're sort of somewhat semi-prepared episode of the show.
Yeah, a little bit more of a briefer offering, but
a bit loosey-goosey.
I thought, why not? Why not have a good old chat with Gary, you know?
I mean, we've got some brutal news that we would be so remiss to not discuss that.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like your baby has potentially found out about this and is waiting to come out. Let you talk about the brutal news of which we are speaking. It's like, no, it's all right, Dad. It's all right, Dad. My first act before I even exist is to be chill and just stay in so that we can discuss Undeath.
Yeah, mate.
What? Yeah, my week's been pretty sick, man. And I know we both had a pretty awesome time at the cinematography. No, that's not what they call it. Is it?
The cinematography lounge?
At the cinematography emporium. We attended, movies are back, baby. It's the cinema. I mean, you actually went twice, didn't you? You want to talk?
I went to see
Longlegs, right?
I went to see Longlegs. It was I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of it, and there's some of it I had some quite a lot of issues with. I think it was too overhyped, but I didn't not enjoy it. There's just some like weird things about it. Like, thing is, I love Nick Cage in it. Nick Cage is pretty great, even though like he can't really talk through his prosthetics at some point. But but nonetheless, it was an enjoyable trip to the cinema, like just to see some horrible stuff. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I reckon you'll dig it, mate. I reckon. Yeah. I reckon most people would enjoy it. It's I think there was a lot of like overhyping of it. Like, you see all these things come out, and it was like the scariest movie in 20 years. Like,
I've seen quite a lot of that kind of.
Was sick all over themselves, and like that sort of stuff. Like, and you think, why? Like, are these people never been outside? Like, bloody hell. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it for the most part. I won't go into detail of it too much, but yeah. Enjoyable. But Gary,
yes, mate,
how bloody good was Deadpool Wolverine then?
How good was Deadpool and Wolverine, mate? It was I loved it. I had such a great time. Like, I was thinking to myself, and like, this might actually accidentally sound like a diss, but I don't want it to. But were you like, what age were you when Scary Movie came out?
I don't know. It's quite a weird one to pull out, so I'm not sure. Was that at school? Probably at school.
Yeah, I remember when Scary Movie came out. Right, it was like the biggest thing in the world. Everyone was really like, then they ruined the whole concept of the whole sort of parody movie by just
did like
doing
5
to death. Yeah, and you got so many of the like, but there was a time when like Scary Movie, yeah, and Scary Movie was just like the funniest thing in the world, and I kind of felt like Deadpool and Wolverine had vibes of like Scary Movie back before they played it completely out. I thought it was so like knowing and parody like, but in a really good and funny way. Like, I just thought it was. I think there's too many. I'm hearing, I like to sort of consume the old opinions on these kinds of things, and a lot of people going like, "Oh, the plot was really bad." And it's like, well, the plot in these films are all pretty bad. Like you can't really hold these movies up and expect them to have some sort of Scorsese level of plot to them.
Yeah.
But what you got to worry about, were the fight scenes good? Yes, the fight scenes were absolutely wicked.
Yeah.
Did I have was it fun? Yeah, it was really fun. And that's the main thing you got to worry about. And I just think fun's been missing from the MCU for ages.
Yeah, agree, mate. Agree. I think it's just miles and miles better than anything they've done since like Endgame. And I mean, I guess how much of it was them? How much of this is a Sony movie, or was this produced by Marvel? Like, where is this
Fox,
coming from? Was it from Fox? Was it Fox? Like,
I think because
it's been not Sony, is it? It's Fox.
It's been worked on for so long. It's been worked on for like 6 years, and it started off as Fox, and then obviously the merger happened in the period of time that it's been being developed, like obviously COVID and the writer's strike and everything else that got in the way too. So it's kind of, I think it's almost like half and half, which is kind of like, I think it's quite evident. And I don't know, I just thought, and I know Ryan Reynolds has actually personally had quite a lot of involvement in like producing it and making doing a lot of the, adding that to a lot of the writing. Persuading Hugh Jackman to be in it in the first place. I think he was pretty much directly involved in that. So he's kind of been the one thing that's like consistent, and you can really feel that is the case, because there's like, I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers and ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But there was that one bit that really made me laugh was when they were like, it was him talking to himself. And he's like, I can tap on the fourth wall too. And he just looks at the camera and just goes, the proposal. That absolutely killed me. That joke was so funny. Just cracked me up. And it's just full of like loads of brilliant stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I like the opening scene, like with just all the
class.
Like just a massacre choreographed to N6 bye. Like,
it
was just
with the full dance routine superb. And everything. Yeah,
just absolutely superb. And yeah, I just didn't really struggle to like have anything wrong with it. Yeah, I guess you could I reckon if you sit back and sort of pick apart the plot, it's not exactly the most. It's not exactly a nexus, but you know, like. It was really thoroughly bloody enjoyable. I enjoyed like so much just finally being able to see them two characters have loads of fights, just have loads of rucks. Like
man,
endless
comic book accurate outfit for Wolverine. They look really good. Didn't look silly. Even like the mask. Like I was worried when the mask was going to go on. I was like, is that going to be?
It looked
but the
amazing.
Mask was absolutely wicked.
And it makes you think like, how have we had? I mean, how many movies has he been in as Wolverine? You've got the 3 original X-Men's. You've got the Days of Future Past. So that's 4. Then you've got his own. He's got 3.
Yeah.
He's got Origins, the Wolverine,
Logan. And Logan.
So that's 7. Are we at 7? Is this? Or is it 6?
Is he in if the other like?
It's 6.
McAvoy ones other than
he's
Days
in
of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. He's just in that.
Is that the only one?
Yeah,
that's
so
loads.
He's in 7, right? You've got 7 movies of Wolverine, and there was a I can't remember if it was Origins or if it was the Wolverine, but I think it's the Wolverine. There's a the cutscene at the end, isn't there? Like the whatever it is,
with the
little teaser, and they open it up, and it's got like the OG like browns and the color and stuff, and I just can't believe it's taken. It's taken like he's like owned the role, conquered the role, retired from the role, and then they finally pull out the suit that everyone wanted from fucking day one. Like,
man. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it massively. I tell you what though, Cassandra Nova.
Mate, Princess Di.
Princess Di. I just couldn't, mate. She was just Princess Di with a bald head, wasn't she? Like, even her outfit is like something that Princess Di could have been wearing.
Yeah.
If anyone's not watched The Crown, she played the woman that played it. She's in. Yeah, she plays Princess Diana. That's why we're saying that, by the way. And her voice was basically the same. Like she's just doing like a very posh English accent. So it's just, it was basically like Princess Diana was the bad guy.
All of that, like the putting her hand into people's heads and stuff, that was cool, wasn't it?
Oh, didn't you think though, right? I don't know if you watch it again. Every time her nails were on show, going through the faces, her nails were like 3 times longer. Like the nail bed itself, inside the finger, were like 3 times longer than anyone's nail ever actually is. Like
She's just a classy lady, mate. She's just got classy lady nails. So your nails are like horrible.
That bit just
your
went
nails
on
are like
for
horrible.
too long.
Like, look at mine. Mine are gross. You got horrible scrubber nails.
But
like
it's like
me.
if
She's
that
just
bit
a classy
started
lady.
all the way up there. I don't know. I thought that's my only complaint. Her nails look
real
funny.
long fingers. That is a very strange.
Maybe she's got really long fingers.
As your only complaint.
But mate, it was a great time. I enjoyed it massively. I hope they just do more. I hope they just go and have a fight with Amiga Red next, and then they just do some other stuff. Like I just want it all.
It's absolutely ridiculously successful as well, right? Like the opening weekend was humongous, like the biggest opening weekend of an R-rated movie ever, and like it's already like the biggest movie of the year, and it's only been out like 4 days or something, isn't it? Is that right? I think I heard that.
Hopefully this puts a little bit of a shake up in the already shaky Blade camp. The movie that's like in the like I think in recent memory that and the Crow reboot that's finally coming out have been the movies that have been in development hell for like the longest time. Remember before the Crow got announced? It's been announced for years and years and years, and it's been like someone's playing him, and then it was like Luke Evans for a bit, and then it was like Jason Momoa for a bit or something like that, and now we finally got this version of the Crow that's going to come out, and it's just taken so long, and
everybody's shook to do it, right? Because there's like a curse or whatever.
Yeah, it looks awful as well, doesn't it? Like how
it does. It looks really bad. They showed the trailer for it before Deadpool, and they've got FKA twigs in it, like because she can play with swords and pole dance, but it looks dire. It looks really bad. Like I've got no love. I've really not got no like affinity for the original, but I think it looks really rubbish.
The design, like I can't believe they've basically gone right. What was one of the most sort of hated on like character designs in recent memory, right? Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh, I know what Jared Leto was the Joker. Yeah, let's copy that.
Yeah, they're like, let's copy that. Let's copy that. Something already tried, tested, and hated by audiences universally. And then they've gone, yeah, we're just going to make him look like that. Like, it's mental.
Absolutely ridiculous. Sorry for the coughing. I'm going
you still got a bit of COVID, Gary, or what?
Mate, I reckon so. I think you actually watched me like start to come down with it in real time last week. Like, honestly, I got on the call feeling fine, and by the end of it, I was like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. And then, it's just been rough. At this point, all I've kind of just got the cough left, but it's relentless, and it just won't leave me be, and it's quite upsetting. But I was saying to Nicola, I was like, we're going to see Deadpool. I was like, I don't care how ill I feel, I will take an entire packet of cold and flu, and we're going to go and see Deadpool. And I was like, doing this like to try not to upset everybody in the cinema by coughing, but I was like, it's happening, I'm going.
Like those ones you used to get like on the inside, like when you used to be in like assembly or something, you couldn't stop yourself coughing, you're like, and your eyes are watering, you're like trying so hard not to let it out.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, just it comes out of your ears or something instead. Like, that was it, mate. That was what I was dealing with. Yeah, man. Just a great time.
But yeah,
great time. To
bloody well enjoyed it. I'm sure loads of people have seen it, but fucking absolute banger.
You don't need us to tell you to go and see it. It's literally everywhere. You go on YouTube and literally every video in your suggested has like a picture of one of the two of them in it, because they are just like marketing the absolute crap out of it. Like, fair play to them. I don't blame them. Costs a lot of money.
Yeah, man. It was great.
Got to pay all them wages for everyone they got to be in it.
So Gary, riffs.
Yeah, should we actually like
riffs?
Talk about riffs, because that's more of our area of expertise.
Yeah. So last week the State Faults album came out, and I think it's one of the best things I've heard all year. It's so bloody lovely. Yeah, I think it's phenomenal, dude. Mate, I am absolutely loving it.
That's a big old statement. Like, I've got a lot of time for it. It's a really bloody good. Like, I saw somebody describe it on Twitter as genre redefining, and I reckon that's not going too far, is it? Like, there's moves and there's ideas that this band make on this album that no other band in the sort of screamo space have ever had the bottle to have a go at.
It's epic, mate. It's like it constantly maintains this beautiful, bright energy, and it runs for an hour and 2 minutes, right?
It is quite long.
but you get through the record, like you're fully in the throes of it. You're absolutely loving it. You've gone through like Palo Santo. The singing on that just is absolutely through the roof. And you're in there. You've been in for a while. And then you get to track 7, No Gospel, and it's a 10-minute track in the middle of this hour and 2-minute post-hardcore record, and it's just unreal, mate. It's just fully bloody gorgeous. I'm just, and then you get like, you hit like Nazar after that. It's got this like beautiful sadness to it. It feels like it's being screamed into like a warm night sky or something. It's got like a cinematic element to it, like Bodega Head. That just comes out with like the acoustic, like the energy shifts, and like for an album so long, it keeps the energy going in ways that you just like, you completely. You're just baffled by it. Like I should be saying this album's too bloody long. Right? That's what I should be saying.
You are the guy who will always point out that an album is too long. That is you. But yeah, I understand. I absolutely understand where you're coming from, man. Like this, when I was listening to this, I got so much like Big Scary Monsters, sort of early 2000, the late 2000s, early 2010s, like post-hardcore, which we've talked about in other places, and it's a scene that was really important to me. Like my friends were on the label, and we used to go and see him all the time. We had like Sam, Get Cake, Wear Cake, Fly in Southend, who used to put shows on where he booked all the Big Scary Monster bands all the time, and like that was like my scene when I was kind of. I've seen kid age, and so that kind of sound has always been something that I hold really dear, and I get a lot of like Second Smile and that kind of, and like Mutiny on the Bounty, that kind of thing, although they were instrumental, but there's that kind of like just pushing the boundaries of what post-hardcore can really do. And like First Alexis album, like, because the thing about the First Alexis album is it's always really focused on atmosphere, and like, they're quite happy to create a lot of space in songs, and like State Faults really have no problem with creating loads of space within their songs, and you get that vocal that just kind of cuts through. And I think it's one of the most savage like vocal deliveries I've ever heard, but I don't know if that's because it's so spacious, it's got so much room, and often there's like just sort of like twinkling guitars and a gentle drum beat, and then there's just this savage scream coming through. Maybe it's the backdrop that makes it stand out so much, but bloody hell, it's incredible. Yeah. But then also, like you were saying with like Palo Santo, like that chorus has been in my head so hard all week, like just walking around the house just humming. I just can't get it out of my head, man. It's like really, really catchy and addictive. This album is bloody wonderful, right? It is wonderful. I'm not quite as happy. Shut up, Jamie. Bloody hell. I'm really not quite as happy as the about the hour-long runtime. Maybe I would have preferred it if it was a little bit shorter, but I don't feel the need to turn it off. Like it doesn't get on your nerves. Like it's just, I'm just used to preferring more succinct albums, but I think it's a bloody lovely album.
Yeah, and because of its runtime, like there's a good few sort of interludes in there, and I wouldn't take them out. I think they really work like brilliantly to sort of cleanse the palette between this like consistently sort of incredible atmosphere. They're necessary. They really do add like sort of breathing gaps between the emotional intensity, and like there's these little sort of spoken sort of narrative bits that are just sort of like. It's sort of like wisdom out of earshot. It's like you don't really grab it, but you're just like, oh, that's quite nice. Like I'm trying to
like
figure out
you're at a bar and it's like the table behind you having this really like deeper meaning for you. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
and there's like one moment that's like I think one of the best vocal takes I've heard in forever, and it's the sort of like the sung and scream moments in Transfiguration, like. The way he moves between the singing and screaming in the same breath, like that little moment that's there, it's like a minute into Transfiguration, and it's just one of the best vocal takes I've heard in fucking forever, mate. It's so good.
It's a really cool
it's massive,
record.
Mate. It's absolutely massive. And do you know what? They're a band that I remember the singles coming out for the previous album. I think it was Clairvoyant, and
that's it. Yeah.
enjoying them a lot, really enjoying them. And then when it came to the album, I wasn't as like far on board. I didn't think it grabbed me as much as I was hoping for it to. But this thing, mate, it's absolutely massive. Yeah, like you say, like I think they're sort of using things that bands like Alexis like do, even in like later day Alexis, like in like building scale. It's like stadium ready fucking post hardcore, which is mental. And then there's a lot
Screamo,
of like you said, like the first Alexis album where it's just like this ravenous vocal attack, and then this beautiful voice just sears out, and it's not necessarily to like build like a recurring moment or a chorus or anything. It's like it just sort of just complements the moment, and the way they put things together on this is just I just love it.
It's a lovely album. Like I need to like live with it for a bit more. I think like just give it, because I'm really strong on the first sort of half of it. I've listened to a lot more just because like sometimes you put on an album and then I don't know, you get a team score at work and you kind of forget to come back to it. So I need to like give more time to the whole thing as like a full body of work.
And then what it is that you don't want to jump back into the album without listening to Palo Santo again. That's what it is, really. That's just the anchor point for the early album. You're like, well, I can't do that without getting to that again. I mean, I've got to earn it.
Yeah, probably. I think you might have called me out there. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, man. It's what's it called? Children of the Moon, right?
Children of the Moon, isn't it? Bloody gorgeous.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm cheating a little bit because we're going through stuff that we've been jamming, but I've been jamming this album a lot, but it actually comes out this coming week. It's the band of Gravemind, who we've definitely talked about on the show many times before. I've always been a strong proponent of the band. They kind of disappeared for a while, come back. I think they've got a new singer, I believe. And I got a new album coming out on Friday called Introsphere. I think previously they were on, what's the big Australian label whose name I can't remember right now. Grayscale, I think. Grayscale, band,
that's it. So yeah.
But now they're like just rocking independently, and this album has been in our inbox for a little while. And I tell you what, like, I know I'm like one of the few people left who are like, metalcore's still quite good, Like, there's still decent bands coming out of modern metalcore that are worth listening to. Like everyone, it's like, oh yeah, bloody what is it, Bad Omens or Sleep Token and all that kind of stuff, and everyone's just like. Everyone was just like, I can't deal with it. And I'm like, yeah, but there are still bands that are in this kind of scene who are sick. Like they do still exist. And I will absolutely die on this hill, man. Gravemind are one of the best ones. Like I used to be like Silent Planet, mate. You need to get Silent Planet, but Silent Planet just keep getting crapper and crapper with every new album, bless them. But Gravemind are at the moment, absolutely banging. Like, who knows what happens in the future? Let's not worry about that now. Let's focus on this new record, mate, because it's just like they know how to be heavy. They really do know how to be heavy, and it's not just like pop music in disguise. It's actually heavy music where they do still have a really strong grasp of melody and understand how to probably make it work. Like you can go back to like the good old days. You go back to your sort of your Kill Switches and your Alexises, and they were heavy bands who threw choruses in to add an extra dimension. They weren't pop bands who were like throwing in riffs to get on playlists. Like this is like coming. I feel like this is coming from a much more like real and more heartfelt place. And when they go for it with their riffs, man, they absolutely smash the crap out of you, mate. Like they can really, really write a sick, chunky riff. Like I guess they kind of originate in the deathcore scene, right? So there's still like elements of that left in them. Like there's that song. Sorry, I'm True Life. There we go. I found it. Where they get proper. The blasts come and it's like it really, really goes for it. And it's like there's just loads of good stuff, like little elements in there that don't just feel gratuitously sprinkled in to appease audiences. They are like they feel legit. And I think this album, like, I know I got really like excited about Extortionist earlier in the year, but like thinking back on it and what you said about how like the choruses were like jarring and they were kind of put in there and it felt semi-cynical. And I feel like now I'm like lived with this album for a fair while. I kind of see it highlights to me what you were saying about Extortionist, and you know what, actually, like this is how he should be doing it. This Gravemind record.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I only listened to this album once, but I really did enjoy it.
Minute. Yeah,
I did really enjoy it. I think it was a really, really good example of like how metalcore can be really heavy and really bouncy and groovy, and it has that sort of like lighter effect, but it doesn't lean into it too much. It's just a really cool, heavy, technical metalcore record.
Yeah, man. How much did you love when Reba from Code Orange came in on Anadonia as well, mate? She like this came in our inbox around the same time as 200 Stab Wounds, and it was really funny to have like this album with Reba on and then that 200 Stab Wounds with Jamie on, and like hear them doing what they do, like in really like emphasized ways, and just it was bizarre. But yeah, when she comes in like that melodic moment when she just steps in and just like pushes it right up. Oh, it's absolutely bloody wonderful. That and like Aloy, which is another one, which is a really lovely melodic track, but then it's got proper hard riffs in it as well, like proper ones. Yeah, I just think this album's really bloody cool. I'm a big fan of the band, have been for a long while, and I think this is their strongest output to date.
Yeah, man. They need to tour with like Polaris or something, don't they? That would be
I reckon they must play like in Australia. They probably play shows with Polaris once a week, like. They got to do, surely. It must be like Parkway Drive, supported by Polaris and Gravemind everywhere you go. But like, Polaris should maybe bring them over. Yeah, like they got like a weekly residency at the big stadium. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. They should bring them over on the pirate ship, on the Jolly Roger, the weekly residency. This is what happens when we don't prepare ourselves properly. We just insult people. But, stop making pirate music, and maybe we wouldn't have to. Yeah, Introsphere by Gravemind, mate. I think this is an absolutely savage record, and
yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, and I do like when I hear bands who are doing a modern metalcore sound and they're making it sound cool and they're not making it sound like corny as hell.
Yes.
Although I do slag off Bad Omens, but I heard that song with Lizzie Hale that they've done on Kerrang Radio the other day. It's a bit of a banger, to be perfectly honest. It's really cool. But that's because it's basically all her, and the band have just kind of made the music like the
and she is objectively sick,
and she's objectively a rock star. Like whether you think her music's cool or not, she's like she's not worried about being cool because she absolutely rips. What else have you been jamming then, Sunshine? What you been
right?
Sorry, what's been on the old tunes,
mate? So I think it was last week. A band that I really like dropped a little cheeky 3-track. The band are called Polterguts, and one of the sickest names going. I really got into their album from 2022 called Gods Over Broken People. And I think what it is that draws me so much to this band is the Shock Horror, the vocalist, right? He's got this. So the band, it's kind of like, if you listen to it, you kind of like think you know what you're going to be in for. Like when it opens up, you're like, okay, right, this is a pretty sort of a straightforward sort of deathcore-y sound, pretty like sort of hardcore deathcore. Like you think you know what's going to happen. But the vocalist, he's got this flow, mate. He's got this flow, and it almost works like hip hop. It's really cool style. It's almost like hip hop sort of noise rock delivery. His vocal stylings though, he's got a proper like Matty McDougall going on. It's a proper like low, full-bodied, really sort of well enunciated, very sort of raw and honest. But yeah, the way he sort of rolls over these tracks, it's sort of almost like a stream of consciousness, like a man sort of breaking down. It kind of like unravels. It's really cool, man. It's got like really brilliant sort of groovy riffs that sort of they like percolate in this warm production. I just think they've got a really cool little unique style that they're sort of like just forging for themselves. There's like a real sort of heavy sort of, you get the atmospherics that you might get in say like a Gent record. It's just very, very sick. It's very, very interesting. It's only 3 tracks. There's not much to go, but like, yeah, it's just a lot of atmosphere and a lot of like really great production for like a pretty bloody small band.
Hell yeah.
There is a track on it called Jaundice Joplin, which is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
I feel like you sent me this and I didn't listen to it, and I feel really silly because it sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, mate. I think you'd really like it. Like I say, it's that vocal attack that's sort of so flowing and almost feels freeform, and it's just really sort of different. It's not like sort of tropey moments pushed together for like then an epic breakdown, and like you know when the mosh call's coming, and you know like sort of like deathcore by committee like you get a lot of the time. It's a really cool little listen. Yeah, it's just 3 tracks. It's called Nobody Likes You. The band called Polterguts.
I'll have to check that out, man. Before, I think we should probably talk brutal news, but before we do, there was one other cheeky little record I wanted to just drop in before I got, I've got a couple more bits, but there was something I listened to earlier on which I really think was worthwhile. So every now and then, I don't know about you, but every now and then I like to frequent the Maggot Stomp playlist on Spotify. You like to stay on the old Maggot Stomp just in case there's something come out that you've missed. And something had come out that I had missed, although I went back into Discord and typed it in, and it definitely got shared. So I feel a bit bad, but it must have happened while I was busy. There's a band called Spent Case. Have you come across this band, Spent Case, on Maggot Stomp?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Mate, they are absolutely wicked, man. This EP, self-titled EP that came out in May, oh, it's so good. It's just like beat down. It's aggro as you like. It's proper like... It's like you're gonna die in this mosh pit type music. Like it's honestly like you do life insurance before you go see this band live. That's the kind of vibe that you get when you listen to it. It's absolutely class. And then also the front cover of the record. If you're not already sold on Maggot Stomp, the front cover is like a troll stamping on a car and ripping the driver's like body to pieces. It's absolutely genius.
Oh, he's like a Oni type character.
Oh, is that what it is? He's sort of like ogre type looking fella.
Yeah, like he's like an Oni type
like
vibe,
Japanese,
but he's got the beads on. He's got the teeth and that. But yeah, he's
man.
dragging a person out of a car and then shooting them in the head, which is fantastic.
The art is incredible. Yeah, there's a track on it called Jungle Clip, which is awesome. Like the whole thing is really, really good. It's just ignorant as hell, stupidly heavy. I can't recommend it enough. Like it's not something you can have like a massive amount of critical. Yeah, exactly. It's not something you can sit and have a big critical analysis of it, but it's just silly heavy and it's really fun. It's slightly more serious than Big Ass Truck, but it's in a ballpark on the sound.
On a scale of 1 to Big Ass Truck, where are we at?
We're about 16 out of 18 wheels, I think, on Spent Case. On a scale of 18 wheeler, we're about a 15, 16. No, it's really fun. It's a good time, and it's a bloody short. It's probably about 8 minutes, so you can't. If you listen to it, you don't like it, you haven't really lost much time. So I would recommend giving it a go. Dude, brutal news. Brutal news,
mate.
Brutal news is very important because death metal releases of 2024 is just getting absolutely out of hand at this point. It's getting silly. We've had amazing records from Gatecreeper, 200 Stab Wounds, Terminal Nation. Like they're just the first 3 that popped to mind. And there's still to come further down the line. We've got Blood Incantation. We've got a Black Dahlia Murder album. We've got, oh my God, it's just silly. It's just silly how many records we've got coming down the line.
We're still waiting on that Body Boxer.
Body Box is coming. They said that's coming out this year, but they're probably wasted. And I wouldn't be surprised if it came out 2 more years before it happened. But they're all still, these records are still out there. But now, on top of that, Undeath have announced their 3rd record. It's going to be called More Insane. It's coming out on the 4th of October through Prosthetic Records. Excuse me. Same day as Blood Incantation, actually. So I sent you a little screen grab of the October in the schedule. It's ludicrous right now. The October in the schedule is just getting daft. It's getting absolutely cracking. Yeah, man. They've... Sorry.
Gary's dying. Yeah, Undeath released a single.
Water. Yeah. Brandish the Blade.
Brandish the Blade. It features... so that's the album cover, isn't it? And It is
so good.
It's absolutely stupidly good.
So good.
Stupidly good artwork. I was wondering, I was looking at trying to look at it closely to see if they would, because the previous one had the old album in the background, didn't it? It was like the thing. And I can't really tell if this is in there. There are some there's some sort of like mountainy things in the back of the graveyard, so maybe they're in there. But I was hoping they might continue that, but it doesn't matter because the artwork is so hard. It's the coolest artwork this year.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Like, I need to own that on a shirt. Like, that's so cool. But like, this new song is so good. Like, it must be quite tricky when you're one of these like big hype death metal bands, and you're trying to figure out your next move. Like, everyone's, the spotlight's on you. Everyone's like, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And the trend the trend of the sort of caveman death metal vibe that has brought you to everyone's attention is, maybe dying off a little bit. You're like, okay, so what's the move? And Gatecreeper, obviously their move was Melodeath. 200 Stab Wounds, their move was just like straight groove. And it seems like Undeath's move is to just pay a little bit more money on production and just to keep doing what they do and just be absolutely quality at it.
Dude, it's so much cleaner, but it's still got everything there that you absolutely love from them. Like that opening, you're like, oh, what's going to happen here? And then the drums kick in, and it's just those brilliant rumbling pedals, which are just so consistent within their music. And then
Alex comes in, and he sounds amazing, doesn't he? He sounds incredible.
He sounds unreal. He's hitting different notes. He's got a real sort of dynamic presence on the track, and it's brilliant. It sounds really so good.
Really good, clear diction of what you can hear, like the words, like that bit before the breakdown comes in, which go, and then the way it like really like lumbers into that breakdown, so good. And then it comes back and it kind of goes a bit mad, and it's so low. It's a brilliant song. It's like a 4-minute song. It feels like it goes by like that. It's so like infectious, and it's got a chorus almost in it. Like, it's just, it's wicked. It's absolutely wicked. I'm so looking forward to this album now. I thought like death metal album of the year for me was, it wasn't Sewn Up. It's a difficult decision, but at least I thought like there can't possibly be any more albums that come in that are going to be better than the ones that we've got.
And who knows?
We don't even know what could happen. There could be more to come out.
It's really got this, it's so instantaneous. It's got like it's just incredibly catchy. That riff is a real sort of tempo, and it features so prominently throughout the whole thing, and it's just fucking fantastic. They've just written the perfect death metal single.
They've just nailed it, haven't they? Absolutely nailed it.
Absolutely. I can't bloody wait for that.
Yeah, man. New Undeath album coming in October. Look forward to that. And something else that got announced, which there's a band that we have struggled with. I'm not going to lie. The band of Better Lovers, the Every Time I Die End Dillinger Escape Plan supergroup. They've announced they're going to be putting out their new album, their first album, Highly Irresponsible, on the 25th of October through Sharp Tone. I'd just like to highlight for a second, that's the same day the Fit for an Autopsy album comes out, so that's Will Putney releasing 2 albums on the same day. Taking the absolute Michael.
It is properly cornering the market on riffs that weekend, isn't he?
That is going to be Putney Music Friday. Like, it's hilarious. But there's a new single from the album. The single is called A White Horse Covered in Blood. So yeah, like I was saying, like it's not really, we've not really been, neither of us have been very enamored with Better Lovers. We just haven't. I don't know what it was. Like we talked about when the single came around, and I don't think we even bothered talking about the EP on the show, which is mad considering they're like 3/5 of Every Time I Die. But I just couldn't get behind it. And I have to say, like this, I feel much better about this new song than anything else that they've put out so far, in terms of having its own identity and not just feeling like the constituent parts glued together. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got its own identity, but is its own identity as He Is Legend song?
I was going to say, is it a Bronx song?
Bruh.
Like, yeah.
It's don't get me wrong. I think this is a cracking song, but yeah, it feels like a track from like Few or something. Like the flows and the melodies in it are just like straight out of Skylar's book, like
yeah, man.
Skylar's book rather. But I'm warmed. I'm warmed now. Like I think I'm just so inherently Team Keith that I don't want to like anything that comes from this. Like that, I think that's right. Kind of why I've shied away from sort of Better Lovers in general. But like, this is great. It really is great. And like great performances all over the shop. It sounds like Every Time I Die and Here's Legends smashed together with one of the best vocalists of all time over the top. So like, really, what can you moan about?
It's hard to moan. It's hard to complain. Like, I think it's good that they've gone for a slightly less wiry, more like thick and straight up kind of style. Like there's some incredible bass runs going on from Mitch in there. There's just some moments where for some reason out of nowhere, he just kind of starts going, just doing these insane like bass runs just because he can. Like fair play to the bloke. Like it sounds really cool. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So I think I've put it in the schedule for the show. I think we definitely should be talking about the Better Lovers.
I think we should
when that comes out. That'd be the Will Putney double header from
that'll be a good day for
podcast. That'd be a laugh. That one. I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be a phenomenal day for the riffs.
Yeah, man. So yeah, there's news. I guess everything's AOR this week because we're a bit freestyling. But there was another album I really wanted to talk about, and I know that you've checked it out, and I'm hoping that you've got as glowing things to say about it as I do. The band are called Hereisaropegoodluck. It's a new project from Mike Carroll, who was in the band Destroyer. I don't know if you were. I was really keen in my teenage years of making sure that I listened to the most obnoxious and horrible music I could get my hands on. And at the time, that was MySpace era grindcore. So Destroyer were quite an important band for me. The Dead Sleep like us for a reason, and particularly Littered with Arrows. It's an absolutely brilliant record. If you've not checked it out, go back and have a listen. Like, I love that scene. Like we talked about See You Next Tuesday a lot in the past and how important they were. And so there's this new project, and it's also been produced, mixed and mastered by Hunter Young, who from, he's in the band Mood Ring, but we more particularly know him as the brains behind Psycho Frame. He's up in his like production credits a lot lately. I think he did that Callous Dowboys EP that came out last year and stuff. He's getting, he's really starting to have a bit of an imprint on what's going on. And the result that you get, also, by the way, I should mention before we get into it, shout out Electric Seal from Discord, who I asked Sonny, and we don't know what your actual name is, but we love you and you're a hero. And it was him who brought I'm assuming it's him, sorry if that's wrong, but here is a rope good luck to our attention. And bloody hell, thank you so much, because this is absolutely sick. Why are more people not like shouting about this record from the highest rooftops they can get to? What's going on?
Yeah, must just be massively flying under the radar. Like, this is a grind record that's gorgeous. Like, it's absolutely massive. It's got this epic scale to it. Like, it's got these sort of I'll tell you what was really funny. At the end of Down with the Snakes, there's this really like serene moment, and I'd written in my notes like, I really like the seagull bit. And then I listened to it again.
Bit, of course.
I really like how they added the seagulls into this like really serene moment. Then I listened to it again and it wasn't there.
Because there was the seagulls outside. You forgot you live by the sea.
It was so funny because I looked through my moments. I looked through my notes and I was like, it's not there. And I must have just heard them. They must have just been outside the window. But yeah, so this record, it's extremely brilliant, like death grind, but it's got this most gorgeous sort of sonic palette. Like the textures are in here that are like that of sort of like death gaze and things like that. And I love, it's just really sort of brilliantly juxtaposed the whole thing. It's like this lovely, beautiful, bright, immense scale that's just contrasted with this ravenous grinding. And it sounds like $1 million fucking dollars as well, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, it sounds amazing. I think like the thing is, you sit down and think about it, you think grindcore kids have developed some sort of Pavlovian response to blast beats where they just go, oh, this is blast beats, it's really good. And actually like grind the standard of grind is quite low for the most part. It's one of those sounds that's very easy to create and very difficult to master. And then you get something like this that comes along, and they're like, "Yeah, we've got this massive background in grind, but we actually want to write some bloody songs. We want to write something that's like properly consequential. We don't just want to write songs that are 20 seconds of blast beats and someone will go, ah! Like, we actually want to write something that has an experience and has like a beginning, a middle, and an end, and things happen in our songs that people want to come back to because they're excited about it, and it's not just like 10 minutes of noise and everyone's like, oh, that was really good because it's got loads of blast beats in it. Like, no, I feel like this record really, really like makes you engage with it. And I think that's what really like sets it apart from a lot of the other stuff that goes on in this scene. And it's got groove, it's got atmosphere, it's got proper depth. Like, honestly, I think
massive fucking breakdowns.
Yeah, huge chunky breakdowns, like all over the place. Like, honestly, like I was sitting and I was thinking, like, grindcore this year, it's nails, isn't it? Like, I haven't even heard the album yet, but there's not going to be a better band and not being a better effort that comes out than a new Nails record. And now I'm like, come on then, Nails, impress me, because this record's absolutely incredible and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really, really bloody good. So who put it out? Is it Wax Vessel, I think?
Wax Vessel, yeah. But I think they're just like a distro. I don't think they're not like a label. I think they just produce vinyl and stuff. I'm not sure that it's actually a label as such, but you know, they've been going through and they've been like reissuing old, like, they're like, you know, when Sawtooth Green came back around, I think that was Wax Vessel that put that out.
Yeah.
Those kind of like older stuff, and they've also reissued a bunch of the older Destroyer records as well. So I don't know if that's just someone helping them produce the actual vinyls or whatever, as opposed to a label. But yeah, awesome. I've run out of water and I feel like I'm going to cough again. Sorry.
I really. I think the artwork's really nice as well. I think I like how it sort of really represents the album, where it's kind of got this sort of like delicate figure and these like sort of like lovely colors over the top, but then, you know, imposed as well as that horrendously horrific, brilliant fucking logo that's just like completely incomprehensible and gnarly and horrible and all the really, brilliant things that we love plastered all over our chests.
Yeah, man. And it's really unpleasant band name as well. When you kind of think about what the band name is, it's quite horrible. It's quite dark. Yeah, I've got to admit, the record's called Nothing to Write Home About. Yeah, it's absolutely bloody wonderful. You really need to get your ears around it, mate.
It's complete inverse of what you should actually do. You should actually write home about it.
Yeah, you should. More people should be writing home about this record because it's really cool and it's flying well under the radar, and it's a shame.
Yeah, you should like go down the shop, get a postcard, write about it, and send it to someone.
Send it to your mum.
When was the last time you wrote a postcard? About it?
I don't know that I ever have. I don't think I've ever written a postcard. I was thinking about this the other day. This is completely nothing to do with anything, but my sister's kids send thank you cards for literally everything. I was like,
nerds.
I remember my mum used to be desperate to try and make me write thank you cards after Christmas and birthday, and I would do literally anything I could to get out of it, like my homework or whatever I had to do. I would do anything to get out of it, and like obviously it was rubbed off onto my sister. It's imprinted on her, and she's now imprinting it on her children. And you know, I appreciate that they appreciate that their gifts, but you don't need to send me a thank you card literally every time. And there's 4 of them, and their birthday, and I get so many thank you cards. And like, kids, it's fine. Your Uncle Gary will buy you a birthday present, whether you send me a thank you card or not. It's not like next year I'm going to go, well, the ungrateful little sods didn't send me a thank you card, so that's it. They're done. No more birthday presents. I don't know where that came from, but you talking about postcards made me think I hate being forced to write things to people. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. I'm enjoying it. Before we let you go, I do want to just shout out one more record. There's a band called Defacement, and they put out a record called Duality on the 26th of July.
Not a Slipknot cover.
Not a Slipknot cover, unfortunately.
Just get that out there early.
It's absolutely awesome. So they're a band that kind of abandon sort of like lyrics for the most part, right? And they sort of harness the brutal garglings as just sort of textures that complement this absolute chaotic, dissonant mayhem that they create, and that sort of removal is quite nice. I think it sort of tethers them or untethers them further from reality, and then sort of creates something that's sort of more removed. And I quite like that. I think, you know, if you're going to write music that's so out the box, it doesn't have any lyrics. I think that's quite ballsy. I reckon that's properly ballsy. And
I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
this might be the most evil record I've ever heard.
It is. It sounds like a portal to the underworld.
It's genuinely terrifying.
Brilliant.
Like, I'm actually scared listening to this. Like, I spent all of my free time listening to heavy music, and this actually scared me. Like, honestly, you look at the front cover and the logo, and I kind of assumed it was going to be like silly, like toilet death, or it was going to sound like Sanguisuga Bog or something. I had no idea that what I was about to experience was one of the most evil sounding dissonant black metal records I've ever come across. Like,
yeah,
this makes Portal sound like the Arctic Monkeys, man. This thing is ridiculous. This album is absolutely savage. Like, I think we might have found, we're called the Heavyist. I think this might be it. I think
this might be the Heavyist. That might be it.
This album is ludicrous.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, they're sort of abandon allows it to just sort of spiral into this musical hellscape. It does visit space, like in Barrier, that sort of goes up, and you know, is it Barrier, or have I just used that as a it is, don't worry about it. And yeah, the Endeavour sort of turns into more of a experience that you might have with, say, like a Blue House Nord record, where it's just sort of this sort of mental cosmic experience, and it's not grounded. It's all very amorphous and undulating. There's a track on it called Scabulous, which also might be one of the sickest track names ever. Scabulous. Yeah, it's a blistering, technical, unbridled monstrosity of a record.
I was so sure that this band must have been from Germany. Like, I was so sure based on how they sound. You know, like how we always say, like, Imperial Triumphant, they sound like New York. Like, this band to me just sound like, they just sound German. It just has that militaristic kind of thing going on, and like the electronics have this real sort of like industrial German nightclub kind of vibe going to them. And but they're actually from the Netherlands, which isn't too far away, right? Like, I was kind of in the ballpark, but
yeah,
people from the Netherlands are obviously a bit more chill for very specific reasons. But like this, I really liked that, like that element of electronica that they had woven into everything, and the way that it made it feel really like they're not like interludes. They're just kind of transitions between movements, and like considering like they got song titles like Scabulous and the art and stuff that was going on, that this is like really like quite highbrow as well as being terrifyingly evil.
So I think it's put together by I'm pretty sure one of the dudes in it is in that Vertebra Atlantis, which I think is also Cosmic Putrefaction. So like they're sort of, you know, the caliber inside the sort of dissonant realm is there, and this record is just, it's superb. It's one of these things, just zone out. Go for a walk on your own at like 2 a.m. and put this on. Like, that's what you should do.
You really want to freak yourself out. That's like suggesting someone like go and just hang out in the graveyard. Like, bloody hell, don't do that to yourself.
Listen to this in the graveyard. Maybe
it would be a really good spot to check this out. Would be a graveyard, but a graveyard for like androids. Yeah, I thought this album. I'm being very silly. I think this album is really, really something. Like, it's really cool. It's really like
very fun.
Very, very impressive. Very like an undertaking of work that should definitely be marveled at, even if it's not necessarily like something I would say I enjoyed. Like, I don't think it's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be like absorbed, and like it's meant to make you think about your existence and stuff, like, and maybe have an existential crisis or two. Like, it's like, honestly, I do genuinely believe this might be the heaviest thing we've ever talked about.
and that's in a year that we've had Son Pantley, so that's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a really cool. If you enjoy sort of intense, challenging, dissident stuff, then this is just it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like horrible Christmas.
Horrible Christmas. Yeah, Duality by Defacement. Give it a fucking go, man.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, dude. Some sick records. Mate, we've actually managed to do like a full-blown hour-long podcast, just considering that like a few hours ago you're like, what are we doing tonight? I don't even know. It's impressive.
Yeah,
I think we might be quite good at this.
Fully subscribed to like not really doing a podcast or just doing a little quick one. But it's been a pleasure to chat RIFFS with you, Gary. It always is, mate.
It's been fun. Before that bloody baby comes and gets in the way of my ability to chat RIFFS with you whenever I want to. Like, not right now, I'm feeding the baby, Gary. Like, but Sonny, have you heard this new album? Like, so it was fun. Don't worry though, we're still going to be the Heavyist podcast. It's still going to happen, isn't it, Sonny? Isn't it?
I might have to if it just turns out it's the time, I might have to do one with the old baby carrier on. He might have to feature in a few episodes.
I love that. Just talking about, like, you could talk about I'm deaf and then your baby might be sick on you, and that would be so appropriate. I was saying earlier, wasn't I? I was like, I was kind of hoping Jolene would go into labour while we were in the middle of a podcast, because that would be really fun. Really, really dramatic, and maybe we could go viral, like podcasters girlfriend goes into labour mid-show. You're like, oh my god, you run away, you forget to like take your headphones off or something and like knock yourself out. We get a really good like fail out of it.
Just like GoPro it and like end up like having to talk about the Undeath single like just in the car or something.
1 second she's just having contractions. So anyway, yeah, the chorus was really exciting.
I reckon down the line we might be able to get some like some nice content. Maybe I could like when he's all sort of got words and that, like make him listen to some mental music, get him like kids react to, like
kids react to Defacement.
Kids react to Defacement, Imperial Triumphant.
I love that.
Mate, lovely podcast, Gary.
Yeah, man. A lot of fun. Lot
of fun. Lot of nice riffs. Yeah, everything we talked about is already out, but Gravemind's coming out this week, so go and have a bloody listen to it. And yeah, just remember that there's some bloody good metalcore still knocking about.
It still exists. It's still possible.
Still out there.
Don't give up all hope, please. So yeah, I know we said we weren't going to have a podcast this week. We lied, so we probably won't have a podcast next week.
Most likely won't do a podcast.
Most likely. Week, yeah. So, but we'll see you soon.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you all. Bye.